Sup nerds and welcome back to the HWN Nerds YouTube channel. If the thumbnail and title haven't given it away, today we are reacting to Forever Red, hence the red background and my red shirt. Yes, it's one of my all-time favourites. I had a DVD that collected the return of Tommy as the White Ranger, the crossover between Lost Galaxy and Lightspeed Rescue, and one other that escapes my mind right now, but it was such a classic video for me growing up. I had it twice. When once it got scratched, I bought it again. I used to watch it on repeat. It was such a fantastic DVD, and this was my favourite one to watch. I can't get enough of it. It collects every Power Ranger from the Zordon era up until Wild Force. So this is the 10th anniversary special. It was collected, it was celebrated during Wild Force's run. So it is technically a Wild Force episode, which means the Wild Force Red Ranger is front and center as the main character, I would go with, of this. Which means he kind of gets the hero moment at the end. But we'll get into that when we get into it. And I do have a disclaimer for you just before we get into that. And you'll see that in just a second. But yeah, this is one of my all-time favourites. If you're a Power Rangers fan, then you've probably seen this a million times. If you haven't, I wouldn't recommend this as a jumping on point, but do stick around for the video anyway, as this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. If I was going to recommend a jumping on point, I would probably recommend that you start with any series that catches your fancy, as Power Rangers as a whole tend to start at the very beginning of each season. But if you want to start like at the very, very, very beginning, then I would start at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and just work your way through the back catalogue. But you can just, as I said, start at any series that takes your fancy and watch it. As I said, this takes place during Wild Force's run, which is a Power Rangers series that I would describe as Captain Planet meets the Rangers, as they are a Rangers team that fight Orgs, which are monsters made up of pollution. So they are guardians of the earth and they defend it from pollution. So hence the Captain Planet meets Power Rangers analogy. Their Megazord is made up of sentient wild Zords that are creatures unto themselves that even have their own god called Animus. So it's a great mythos if you want to get into it. But yeah, let's actually get into the episode Forever Red and enjoy that. But yeah, let's get into it. So before we get into the video, I wanted to preface that I am fully aware of the conviction of Ricardo Medina Jr. For voluntary manslaughter of his roommate, which he was sentenced to 6 years in prison for. However, it seems he only served 3 years. I didn't want to go into the video without at least acknowledging it, so that it didn't look like we were sweeping it under the rug for this video. If you do not want to continue watching this video, as his character of Cole from Wild Force will be the focal point by which we're introduced to the wider Power Rangers mythos, please do click off now. If you are still inclined to watch it, please do, and I hope you enjoy. But I did want to give you this information up front so that we can all go on and enjoy, fully aware of all information involved with characters and actors within the case. This theme song is such a nostalgia trip for me. Like, I can't hear it without, like, immediately wanting to bop out and morph into action. Oh, Power Rangers logic, that all this could be happening on the moon and only the Power Rangers would notice. Andros going full Jedi. Andros, sorry, I don't know why it came out as Andros. Oh, and horses on the moon. How realistic. I know this is Power Rangers, so you're probably just going to hear me take the mix sometimes. Okay, my only question for this, because I love Bulk and Skull, how did they get back from space when they was with Lost Galaxy?
I was sent to recruit you for an important mission. The fate of the entire Earth is at stake.
If I was the rest of the Wild Force team, I'd be really pissed off. They only came for the Red Ranger. Like, we only see them come for all the Reds. Like, I get it's for the anniversary. We recruit the Reds. The Reds are usually the most popular Ranger amongst all the teams. However, like, it's so weird. Hey, TJ!
You guys are all Red Rangers too?
Must be weird being back in red after being in blue. R.I.P. Jason David Frank.
The remains of the evil machine empire.
I do like how it comes back to the Zeo season, so it makes sense that Tommy's in charge.
Ship Mark II.
TJ just nods because he's already been on the Mark 1. There we go. The OG. See, for people that didn't grow up with Mighty Morphin like me, but I've gone back and watched it now. Like, I didn't grow up with it. I was too young. But, like, that bit didn't really ring true till I went back and watched all of Mighty Morphin and saw those two together. And it was like, oh, this is awesome.
This, the greatest Zord ever built.
For people that have only watched Wild Force, hearing the word Zord ever built sounds really weird. And there we go, there's the Quasar Savers from Lost Galaxy. It does add a layer to it, though, that does make you wonder, how did the Mighty Morphin coin get fixed? Because they were destroyed. And the Zeo powers were turned into the Turbo powers. So, or at least that's what's implied.
Under the command of General Venjix.
Venjix would be a name that would go down in Power Rangers Legacy, wouldn't it?
We're the only chance Earth has.
Well, you and every single member of your teams, but you only decided to bring the Red Rangers. One of the best unmorphed fights ever in Power Rangers history. Just look at it. Like, you can see all the choreography in action. It's sick. Oh, get him, Tommy. Carter being the one to use a gun is it's classic Carter, to be fair. I always loved this look for Wes with the red beret. Like, it looks sick. I wish, like, we'd have got more to see more of him like that in Time Force.
Cole, hold on! Are you okay?
There we go. The In Space and Lost Galaxy Rangers. I do like how the Aquatar Ranger is the only one to not unmorph. It is weird seeing, like, their younger selves. Because, like, it's using footage from when they first, like, morphed. It's awesome.
Let's take him down.
Yeah, you're not the leader, Cole. I do like Cole being inexperienced.
More phenomenal!
Oh, that's just cringy. More phenomenal. You can see which ones have, like, defeated their villains. This is sick. I love the prolonged beam when he gets fired off.
Man, that is one ugly sword.
It's just a long dragon.
There's only one chance!
I mean, there's more than one chance, but it's your episode, so go for it, Cole. The CGI is very goofy, isn't it? Like,
What's Tommy? He really is the greatest Ranger.
as fandom, we all love Tommy. We all love, like, JDF's portrayal as a Power Ranger. It is sad that he's no longer with us. He is one of the best that's ever worn the suit, that's ever morphed. Like, you can see what they were going for there. And so my final thoughts. I think it was a really good episode. I think it did exactly what it was meant to do for a 10-year anniversary and still managed to keep Cole at the focal point, which for at the time would have been the focal ranger for those watching. I know it was the one that I was gravitating towards when I was watching the episode as a kid, because that's the ranger I was attached to, because I was a Wild Force fan. Like, as I've got older and I've gone back and watched the older series, Cole isn't even near the top 10 of my favourite Red Rangers. But, like, and some of them are, like, Andros is one of my all-time favourite Red Rangers, just because In Space is one of the best Power Ranger series out there. But at the time, Cole was my Red Ranger, so he's the one that I gravitated towards. So I think they did a fantastic job of keeping him at the focal point, especially seeing as though it was a Wild Force episode, even though it was an anniversary special. Now, did I poke fun at the fact that they were like, we're the only ones that could save the Earth, when they have teams on Earth? Yes, because it is laughable when the only people that couldn't call in support was Eric and Wes, because Jen and the rest of them are still in the future. So it is kind of funny. However, and this is where I'm going to say however, Megaforce proved more Rangers does not make a better anniversary special. Because when we did have the Megaforce anniversary special with the legendary battle, and we had all those Rangers, and we had all those different cameos and all that stuff, the writing for that was terrible, and then the legendary battle was a massive letdown. So just because they had every single Ranger team that had existed up to that point, and some from Super Sentai, didn't make it fantastic. So yeah, they could have had every single Ranger team, and they could have had them take down the Machine Empire, which was a good callback. I also liked the fact that they kind of looked like the Beetleborgs. It was not necessary to do so, and I do like that they focused on the Red Rangers. Although it did kind of make it seem a bit of a dick move that they cornered Cole with the rest of the team. And only took Cole. So there were swings and roundabouts with that. I liked the little nods to the fandom thinking Tommy's one of the best Red Rangers and one of the best Rangers of all time. We're at the end of the episode, and like I said myself, I think Tommy's up there as one of the best Rangers of all time. Jason David Frank, God rest his soul, is still one of the all-time greats when it comes to Power Rangers media, and will probably stay up in Power Rangers Hall of Fame no matter what happens with the franchise, which is being rebooted, I believe, by Disney. So we'll see what happens with that. Last time Disney took over the franchise, it was during the tenure of Wild Force, but that's when we got some banger series like RPM, but it's also where we got some duds like Operation Overdrive, my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me on that. Also, let me know in the comments, out of the Rangers featured in this episode, who was your favourite and which one of their series was your favourite Power Rangers series. I would love to know, because it lets me know which era of Power Rangers you grew up with and which one was your favourite. So that would be a blast to know, and stuff like that. But I do think that this was a good way to celebrate the legacy. I do think that there were things that could have been explained. However, it was a short episode. Maybe if they'd have done a two-parter, they could have explained it a bit more in depth. However, it was for kids, so I can understand why they didn't really feel the need to. Such as how Bulk and Skull got back to Earth while Leo was still off in space with the Lost Galaxy Rangers and stuff like that. But again, I can understand why that might have been cut for time. Obviously, they didn't know what they were going to do with Tommy later down the line, but the way that Bulk and Skull were acting doesn't really fit with the Professor persona we get in Dino Thunder later on. So was that Tommy or was that Tommy's clone? How did the Mighty Morphin powers come back even though they were supposed to be destroyed? And things like that. That's questions that could have been answered, but I can understand why they didn't. They were just trying to focus on telling a fun little 10th anniversary story, which I do think held up, and I think the unmorphed fight is still one of the best unmorphed fights we've ever gotten. Let me know if you think this episode deserves the hype it gets, or whether you think it's overhyped. Also down in the comments. But with that, I think we're going to call this video to an end. And yeah, stay happy, stay healthy, and most of all, stay nerdy. I will see you in the next one.